And last night was NBA Rivals night. And there was two games that I watched yesterday. There was the Bucks and Heat, and then the Lakers and Celtics. We'll start with the Bucks Heat. This game was interesting. The Bucks apparently were stuck in New Orleans, like on the runway because of a snowstorm, and so they actually had to start this game an hour late. And it showed in the start of this game because the Heat got off to a 20-5 start and they were balling. I was feeling really good for them too because they're dealing with the Jimmy Butler situation. All the players and the coaches have to answer questions from the media about this, and it's just causing a bit of a dark cloud over the franchise at the moment. So I was really happy to see them get off to this good start. Although it was short-lived. It turns out I think it was just the Bucks not shooting well, because the Bucks ended up winning this game by like over 20 points. And there was one moment in this game that really flipped it, apparently. You might have seen this already, but Damian Lillard had 6 points within 1.1 seconds at the end of the first half. He got fouled on a three-point shot by Duncan Robinson, and he made all three threes. And then Khalil Ware, who we're going to speak about in a second, there was a miscommunication on the inbound, so he threw the ball out of bounds, and the Bucks got to take the ball out from under the Heat's basket, and Dame made a corner three to get him up to 6 points. And while it was a cool moment, I thought, the Heat will bounce back from this. They'll cut that lead down in the second half. And I was wrong. And Charles Barkley at halftime was saying that the game was over after this play. He said it was over. And I thought, you can't say that, dude. It's an NBA game. Like 20 plus point leads get erased all the time. But he really called that out as like the defining moment of this game. And turns out he was right. And I was wrong on that one. But yeah, pretty cool that he scored 6 points in 1.1 seconds. My biggest takeaway from this game, though, is on the Heat side. This is my first time watching Khalil Ware. He impressed me a lot. Apparently, he's 20 years old. I think he was like the NCAA Defensive Player of the Year. He's 7 feet tall, very athletic, very long, and has great touch. He's knocking down three-point shots. The fact that he is a lob threat and that he can shoot from distance really keeps the opposing defender, the opposing big man on their toes. And I think playing him next to Bam um, really unlocks the rest of the team too. Like Tyler Hero, I think had 5 assists in the first half, and I think, averages that per game. So Khalil Ware really impressed me. Yeah, he's doing all that stuff on offense, and he got some blocks on defense, and just has a good knack for defensive positioning. So I'm excited for the Heat. I mean, yeah, like I said, 20 years old. He's going to be a good player for a long time. And shades of Victor Wembanyama. Maybe that's a little unfair to him, but I don't know. He can shoot, and he's big, and he's long. So I think the Heat have found maybe a gem with him, and I'm excited to watch him again. Usually, I don't like watching Heat games because I feel like they're a bit boring and low scoring, but he is someone who I would definitely want to watch again. Small takeaway from this game: Doc Rivers is not good at challenges. I don't think that's a secret, but there was just a blatant example in this game, where Giannis went up to block Bam Adebayo. They both fall to the floor. He clearly hits him on the arm as Bam is shooting, and Doc Rivers decides to challenge, and Giannis is even walking back to the bench like, "Why are we challenging? I clearly fouled him." They lose that challenge, no surprise. And then the funny thing was that I think it was the next play, or maybe like within the next three plays, the Heat have a fast break, and Taurean Prince, he's guarding whoever was on the fast break for the Heat, and doesn't foul him, it looks like. And the Bucks just can't challenge it because they already wasted their challenge. And it was just funny because Taurean Prince was he was pissed. He didn't think he touched the guy. But there was nothing the Bucks could do. And yeah, I think Doc has just had a pretty poor track record over the years, but with challenges, but it was just funny to see. So that's my small takeaway from this game. Moving on to the Lakers and Celtics game. This was the one I was really excited for, and a little bit nervous about because I love LeBron James. He was the reason I became a fan of basketball. He's been an idol of mine since I was a young kid. And he's 40 years old. And when I see that the Celtics are going to be playing the Lakers, I think, oh man, like I hope LeBron doesn't get eaten up. Like I hope he can hang with these guys just athletically and that it just doesn't become a barrage of threes by the Celtics. That's not what happened. And before we get into some of the game, this was because the first game started an hour late. The streams that I was watching were still broadcasting that game while the Lakers Celtics game started. So I went to NBA.com and they have TNT overtime for some of these games, and they had it for the Lakers Celtics game yesterday. And it's really interesting. It's a different experience from watching the regular broadcast because you don't hear the announcers. The camera is behind one of the backboards, so you're actually looking at the floor, almost like a 2K game versus like from the side angle. And you can hear the players a bit more. Like there was one time where someone on defense was like, "Oh hey, like no worries, I got your help on this side," and then the other team was like, "No, you don't," and they made a shot or something. So I like that you can hear the players, and then having that angle shows you really how wide open the floor is. I had recently seen something about Peyton Pritchard. He was talking about how it's easier to score in the NBA because you have the spacing and you have good shooters around you. And looking at seeing that angle just really proved that that was right to me. Anyway, back to the game. So yeah, like I said, I was worried about LeBron. I really don't like to see him get taken advantage of, and I was pleasantly surprised. He looked fantastic out there. He had 14 rebounds in this game, and he was scoring pretty easily and like getting into his bag and into a groove, shooting mid ranges. There was a time when it was at the end of the half, I believe. Luke Cornett was on the floor, and LeBron just called over whoever Luke was guarding. They switched the pick and roll, and LeBron just made a strong move into the middle of the floor and just had a signature yam. And he did it with 8 seconds left on the clock, which I found a bit odd, but it might have been because he wanted to do get that move off before like help could come. I'm not going to question LeBron James' basketball IQ, but I did find it odd because the Celtics got a shot at the end of the half. But he looked great, and then he had another dunk on a fast break. And I've realized when the Lakers on the fast break, it was Austin Reeves this time. He's ahead of the play, or he's leading the play. LeBron is always following, and he is looking to get LeBron the ball while they're on the fast break. And yeah, they had a signature one where advance up to Austin Reeves. Austin goes to the rim, but then drops it off for LeBron. He had another big slam. So LeBron was looking great yesterday, and I was really surprised by how well the Lakers were moving and shooting, and it was really fun to see. My biggest takeaway from this game, however, is the Celtics are an odd question to me right now. They don't instill fear into opponents as much as I think they did last year or the beginning of this year. Now, I know they did play the night before against the Clippers and it went to OT, but I was really surprised by their lack of offensive creativity and their movement. It made me think of the meme of the Chelsea fan who it was like, "There's no passion, there's no aggression." The Celtics really didn't do anything crazy yesterday, and they weren't shooting well or playing together. And it was they ended with 68 points at after 3 quarters. And some teams score that in a half. And it was unlike them. And I don't know why they're in this rut at the moment, but I was surprised to see that. And I think that they didn't have injuries. They had all of their players. Kristaps was out there, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Peyton Pritchard. They had a bunch of good guys out there. and just weren't really making things happen. And I'm going to chalk it up to it's a back-to-back. They're on the West Coast in LA, doing who knows what. And maybe they'll turn it around for the playoffs or the end of the season. But that was a surprise to me and something I'm going to be watching moving forward. Small takeaway from this game, which I'm really pleased about. Gabe Vincent, is he fully back? I don't know, but he played really well last night. And this was a trade or an acquisition they made after the Heat went to the NBA Finals, I think, where Gabe came over and like my brother and I were talking. Oh, Gabe Vincent, he plays hard. He's a gamer. He can shoot well, and he's a pest. Like that's going to be a really good addition to the team. And I think he got hurt on the Lakers, and he just hadn't really contributed much and wasn't being very valuable. I think the tide is turning there because he played great yesterday. He had 12 points, 4 3-pointers, and he had 4 assists as well. And I mean, the Lakers need good shooters around them and around AD and LeBron, and Gabe was providing that yesterday. So, and he and LeBron have some cool chemistry as well. But yeah, small takeaway. Gabe Vincent's back. I'm happy that maybe the Lakers don't need to do a move. They have Dorian Finney-Smith, who he's as big as LeBron is, or as tall as he is. He's not as wide and as built, but he's as tall as LeBron. He's playing great defense. Gabe Vincent knocking down threes. Austin Reeves was cooking last night too. I should have mentioned him a bit more on this, but Lakers looked really good yesterday, and I'm hoping they can turn this into a trend. And then who knows what the Celtics are going to look like, but they also need to maybe have a little adjustment moving forward. But those are my takeaways from NBA Rivals Night. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Talk to you soon.